let's go to a mixed data network analyzer. Okay, so here in this other two, this interactive network diagram generator actually allows you to analyze patterns in the data. Okay, so we'll just create a simple data set with some similar patterns and some different patterns, and then we'll see what we can do. So it mainly helps us to analyze especially qualitative data, because sometimes qualitative data can be too complicated to analyze when it's very complex, and we may want to just have a visualization of that particular data to have an overall understanding of that data. So for example, let's say let's just keep it simple. We have a table that shows maybe the author, the literature review summary. So the author and maybe topic, research topic, and we have results or variables used. Let's say variables used, research method, we add a column. So research method and let's say results. Yeah, so let's just keep it that way. Then we say, or maybe let's add another one, add a column. We call this one country. Okay, so let's say the first one is Fitzgerald did this study in 2021. Okay, so the research topic, the impact of labor force on economic growth. So variables used, obviously labor force, money supply, or let's say capital investment and FDI. Okay, research method, let's just say quantitative. Results, let's just say positive, or let's say labor force has a positive impact on economic growth. Country Zambia. Okay, so we add a row. Let's say this is Collins Collins who? Let's just say Collins Patrick. Anyway, this is just an example. 2024, 2023. Okay, so maybe this guy did the same study. I copy that, try to paste it there, and let's say from these variables this particular person only used that. Okay, then this guy also used the quantitative approach. The results, maybe this guy found the same, and maybe this guy did the study in the same country. Then we add another one, let's say Alice. So Alice, let's say 2025. Then let's say Alice also did the same study, but Alice used some other variables, like maybe didn't use capital investment, just used those. Okay, this one is kind of strange because we can't have this without labor. So let's add labor there. Okay, labor force. Okay, so now here maybe let's say Alice used the qualitative approach, qualitative method, and let's say Alice found the same result, and let's say Alice did this study in Italy. Then we add another one. So let's say the other one is physiognosis. Okay, then physiognosis maybe did this in 2008. Okay, they did the same study and maybe used the same variables that Fitzgerald used, and maybe used the mixed approach or mixed method, and then maybe the results were negative. Okay, then maybe this particular Genesis also did the study in Zambia. Okay, so let's add another researcher. Maybe this one is Paul, and maybe his name is Paul Walker, 2024. And maybe Paul Walker did this study in focused on the same topic and used the same variables that Fitzgerald used, and maybe used a mixed approach as well. And then maybe the results were such that labor force has no impact. Say labor force has no impact on economic growth, and say maybe this guy did this study in Botswana. Yeah. So now the next thing that we want to do is assign colors. So maybe let's say we give Fitzgerald green, and we give Patrick maybe red. We give Alice maybe yellow. Let's say yellow. Okay, and then this doesn't look like yellow, but yeah, I'm trying. Okay, so yellow, I think that's okay. Then we say we give this other guy pink. Then we give this guy maybe yeah, blue. I think blue is okay. Then we are done. So how many people do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's okay. So now let us generate the network diagram so that we can analyze this. Okay, so there we are. So we have a network diagram, and this network diagram shows us a visualization of how the literature that we have reviewed is connected. So it shows us patterns that we can analyze in a visual form. So you may have a bunch of data, and all you want to do is just to navigate around the complexity in that data using pattern analysis or network analysis. So in this regard, you can easily see that you can modify the way this network is appearing, and you can see that, okay, these points, these colors that you assigned are appearing in this network diagram. And you can see that we have Fitzgerald Whitaker in green. We have another author, Alice, in yellow, and we have Collins Patrick in red, and we also have Fitzgenesis in pink. I think. Okay, so right, so then the aspects we are analyzing for each of these are in blue. So you can clearly see that Alice did her study in Italy, and what Alice was focusing on was labor for, these are the results that Alice found. But all these studies were focusing on one particular topic, okay, which is this one here. Okay, so all these studies were focusing on the impact of labor force on economic growth. Okay, then we know that since that's what's connecting all these studies, and then we know that for Alice, she did a study in Italy, used a qualitative approach, and it seems Alice is like the only one who used the qualitative approach. So is that true? Of course, Alice is the only one that used the qualitative approach from the way things look, because there is nothing connected to this other node here. And we also have labor force and FDI, which are the variables that Alice used. And we know that both Collins and Alice arrived at the same result, which is labor force has a positive impact on economic growth, because you can see this is connected to Collins and Alice. And then Collins did his study in Zambia, which is the same country where Fitzgerald also conducted the same study. Okay, then the other thing is that it seems like Fitzgerald and Fitzgenesis used the same variables, as you can see, connected by this node here. Okay, then the other thing that we can see is that Fitzgenesis used a mixed approach together with Paul, right? However, Fitzgenesis is from Zambia, whereas Paul is from Botswana, right? And Paul's conclusion was that labor force has no impact. So labor force, no impact on economic growth. So that's the conclusion that Paul arrived at, and there is no any other author that arrived at that conclusion. That is why this node is not connected elsewhere. So basically what you can also do, you can use the full screen mode if you have too many things going on. So you can also zoom out. Okay, you can also zoom in, right? So you can also change the structure of the way this network analysis is looking like. Okay, so so that's what you can do. And you can also so if you want to go back, you just press escape, then you are back here. And then if you want to maybe export this network analysis in your Microsoft Word Office, so you can save it as a CVG file, and SVG file, or you can save it as a JPEG file or PNG file. I'll save it as SVG. Okay, then when I open my Word document here, I can look for it. Okay, there we are. So we have it. So here it is. And if you convert it to CVG here, you can actually adjust the way some things look like. Okay, you can adjust the way some things look like. Yeah, but this is high quality export, so you can clearly see what it is, and you can write some notes explaining what you're observing in the literature that you had. So like I mentioned, These tools are very good for complex data, because when you have complex data, pattern analysis and network analysis begins to make more sense, because it becomes very difficult to really understand the complexity of data in its raw form. Like, for example, imagine we had a huge table. It will be very difficult for us to really see the connections between the authors or the studies that you have reviewed with respect to their authors. So yeah, this is what we can do with this interactive network diagram generator. Now let's move on to something else in Stevanialysis.